Hello and welcome back to the College Rugby Show. The fall season is upon us. We have a brand new division, now 4 men's divisions, 4 women's divisions. We've had that in 7s. We're going to be coming to you once every other week here in this video podcast form.
I'm excited for a season of telling college rugby's best stories.
We deserve to be here. We're going to keep, representing.
That was, to me, the biggest testament for the future of the game.
Hello and welcome back to the College Rugby Show, the first episode of 2026, and we're opening up with a big one. It is the first ever Women's All-Star Draft Show. That's right, the Women's All-Star Draft Show. NCR, for the first time ever, is having women's 15s as part of their All-Star tournament, as well as the 7s. But the top 100 teams are going to be split into 4 teams: the Stars, the Stripes, the Hawks, and the Bisons. And what better way to pick those teams than to have a draft? That's exactly what they did. The coaches all got together, and they picked their teams. And we're going to go pick by pick for the first couple rounds, then round by round, and then show you the full rosters as we have a huge Women's All-Star weekend. We've got Zach Lanning. We've got Darian Lovelace. A lot to talk about, guys. All-Star Rugby, men's in the books behind us. What a great time for rugby this season here, Darian, in January, getting it in.
Oh, yeah. Things are already heating up. It's a great birthday present for me personally. We love to see all-stars that are out and about. It's why the GOATs are, the Capricorn energy, greatest of all times. And, I think there's a reason why we're starting out with the all-stars. Really good season that we just came off of. And to be able to bring a bunch of players together, some of them vying for these international opportunities where they're going to have to learn to be cohesive. I just think that it's going to develop not just the players, but also the coaches and the continuity and stuff that NCR is really trying to build. And we can only go up from here. So let's blow the top off this thing.
Zach, all right, forever NCR has had 7s All-Stars on the women's side. It was just an easier way to get the entire country involved and a way to get kind of all the conferences engaged. But now it's time to take the step into 15s. What do you think about that? That's a huge step here.
It is huge, and I'm all for it. I love 7s. I love watching 7s. We've got a lot of great talented 7s players in the college scene, but there are a lot of really great 15s players as well that maybe aren't built for the 7s game, but bring a lot to the table when it comes to the full kind of 15-a-side, standard rugby union game. So I love to watch that. I love that these players are going to get a platform to showcase their skills. And I have to say, too, Pat, I love the draft. I'm okay with regional teams being formed. We have it for the women's and the 7s as well, and we saw it for the men's and their 15s All-Star weekend here, but the draft is a lot of fun, okay? And these guys don't have any continuity coming anyway, these players, so why not just throw them on some random dream teams here and see what happens?
All right, well, let's dive right into it. The NCR Women's All-Star Draft, first ever, and the first team on the clock is the Stars, and picking for them is Carly Baker, the head coach of Endicott, and the number 1 pick in the first ever Women's All-Star Draft, Alexis Dallas, the incredible back rower, turned center. I think the Stars are looking to play her at center from Wheeling University. She is incredible. Used to seeing her off the back of the scrum. Her in open field is terrifying, Darian.
Yeah, and looking at it now, you've got to wonder what Baker already is cooking up there. First, being able to get Alexis Dallas, which, that's like creme de la crop, chef's kiss. But to then take her and then go from the scrum and put her in midfield, I think is going to be a big game changer. Not going with, your typical playmakers or those kinds of things to start off from the jump. I wonder if she really wants to see Alexis Dallas into space, and that's what she's looking for. But nonetheless, what an athletic find for Baker right from the jump to be able to get that first one in.
Alexis Dallas is a slam dunk pick. Just an absolute game breaker. Both sides of the ball, going to make an impact. But maybe I'm biased from watching the men's All-Stars this weekend. I like the impact that a really savvy fly half can make. A distributor in the middle of your offense here. You look at Ethan Knight from Dartmouth, Taku Musingwini, Harrison Tuisila. They were the top 3 teams for men's weekend, and because they had fly halves who could distribute and were dangerous off the tee, so they kept those points taken up on the scoreboard too. So in lieu of a fully formed dangerous field general for your team, I think you can't do too much worse than Alexis Dallas with the number 1 pick.
Heck it. Put her in fly half. Alexis Dallas is fly half. She can play it.
You
she
would
can
not
do
like
anything.
that. That ball would not go anywhere.
You would not want to be the 10 standing in the channel opposite of her, I can tell you that much. All right, well, the number 1 pick, or the number 2 pick here goes to the Bison, and that picking for them is Lauren Schisler, Penn State head coach. She's also heading here, the Bison. And the number 2 overall pick in the first ever women's NCR All-Star Draft is Palu Sao, Southern Nazarene prop, the national champion prop. She is a bruising runner, fantastic player. Zach, still no fly half, but In the early days of pro rugby, the tight head prop was always the highest paid, so still a big position you got to fill.
Absolutely, and especially now, if this was a sevens draft, I would not have made this pick, but this is why we have 15s. And Palusau, the perfect example of somebody who's just built for that code. Is an absolute beast on the field. It's going to bring that physical presence, make sure that your team is respected from the jump, okay, because she's not going to hesitate to lower the boob. So, not maybe my preferred strategy, building through the forward pack here early in the draft, but Palusau is going to be a great addition to that team.
So, Darian, are you going to take this forward hate from Zach?
Absolutely. I'm like, where did you come from? I thought you liked 15s. This is a brand new Zach, brand new year for him, and we're here for it. We'll see if he gets progressively faster to the point where he can play sevens, but stay tuned. To me, though, Palusau, I really liked how mean she was, not just in scrum, but also in open play as well. I think bringing a tight head prop in from the jump is a good move by Schisler, just to be able to really have somebody who's a foundational player to build the scrum. But I think it's Schisler's style. It's Penn State style to really take it and stick it right in the mouth right from the jump and to be aggressive. So to me, it makes sense why Schisler would go with her from the jump.
Yeah, it's a great pick there. You can't go wrong looking at that dominant SNU pack. She was one of the major reasons. All right, next up on the clock were the Hawks. Picking for them, Tom Willoughby, the Southern Nazarene assistant coach. He just had one of his players go off the board, and he selected number 3 overall, Riley Erickson, another one of the Crimson Storm. She was a flanker there a lot for the Southern Nazarene Crimson Storm, but could also play in the centers, and I think that's where Tom Willoughby intends to play her. So a bit of a homer pick for Coach Willoughby as he keeps it in the family with the Crimson Storm. She also kicks for goal for them, but a big pick there, Zach.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think I'm interested in back row or back players here that are athletes in open space, because a lot of these all-star meets could turn into track meets too, especially with condensed game times. You really want to just run, and there's no more powerful runners. There are few powerful runners better than Riley Erickson there for SNU, and love it. Getting some continuity as well with coach and player. He knows her pretty well. So.
A little bit of a defensive pick there too, Darian. She can make a lot of big tackles and force some turnovers as well.
Yeah, and I'm trying to understand why they're taking these back row players and trying to convert us. You know what I'm saying? Like Alex, number 8, and then Riley Erickson, who to me is an incredible 7 because of her defense. She's quick off of the scrum. She knows how to get there fast, and she knows how to disrupt. So I can see why they're just looking for a way to grab her from the jump. You don't want somebody else to get Erickson on the team. She's too much of a workhorse. But to move her to center, I've just got to wonder what the idea is. Is it because she's got field vision and she's been so contained in the forwards, and will we see her really be able to look up and read the space? But Erickson is just a savage anywhere that she goes, so she's going to be fun to watch and makes sense why she's in the top 5 for our draft.
All right, well, picking the last pick of the first round, and the first one for the Stripes is head coach Nancy Keckner. They're from Virginia, and she keeps it in the family as well. Her pick, the first real playmaker off the board in this draft, is Kate Delaney, the Virginia fullback, keeping it in the family. Kate is a fantastic player, though. Make no mistake about it. What do you make of this pick, Zach?
I love Kate Delaney, what she brings to the table. I think she's a fantastic player. I think it might be a little early for her to go off the board here, but I can't fault Nancy Keckner for wanting somebody on her team, on her roster, who she's familiar with. Okay, we saw it last pick with Erickson as well. Sometimes these coaches want to have their player who they know is either a great leader, great character person, going to be great for gelling the team, and it helps when it's Kate Delaney as well, who's a really athletic, great explosive player at the fullback spot. So maybe a little bit of a reach for me in my opinion, but again, we're talking about some of the best players in the sport here, so you can't go wrong.
You co-signing on the reach claim there, Darian?
I'm trying to figure out what we're reaching for here, to be honest. To me, it's just Delaney, maybe whenever we're looking at this, maybe Ketchner, like you said, is just kind of being a little bit comfortable here and a little bit conservative. You're talking about bringing good humans into the space as well, so you've got to wonder if Delaney is going to bring that connectivity, especially in the back line, which we saw her do it time and time again, the way that she carves and injects herself at the right time, and the way that she covers the defense. I think a lot of these teams are going to get a lot of line breaks, especially as they build, and having somebody to play cleanup crew who's the janitor, Delaney kind of makes sense as to why, but it's very seldom that I do this. Maybe I'm turning a new leaf, but I'll agree with Zach. I think it's a little overzealous to kind of start with that, but these coaches have a plan, and we'll find out what the method to the madness is.
Look, I'm going to stand up here for Coach Keckner and Kate Delaney. I think if you're going to make a short short list for who got snubbed for Division I Player of the Year finalist, Delaney has to be on it. Virginia gave Northeastern their closest game in the playoffs this year. They gave Wheeling their closest game in the playoffs last year. I think Virginia is a fantastic program. They just found themselves in the pool of death. I think Delaney, this is a perfect time for her to prove it, and I think she deserves to be a number 1 overall pick. This is a snake draft, so staying on the clock is head coach Nancy Keckner, and with the first pick in the second round, the Stripes picked Lauren Anderson, Southern Nazarene hooker. Everybody knows her, All-American, Player of the Year finalist. Lo Anderson, you got to love this pick, Darian.
My heart right now is just like bursting. Lauren Anderson has just been really fun to watch, and it cracks me up that you've got Keckner, who takes a fullback, and then right after that goes for this juggernaut, which is Lauren Anderson. So to me, like, she's got the balance and she's looking for it. Lauren Anderson is so explosive, such a hard worker, and is just absolute. Like, she just annihilates anytime that she gets to the line. It takes more than, I would say, 3 defenders to bring her down. You got to get 1 on each leg, 1 on the back, maybe 1 in the front, but she doesn't quit. So to me, for her to be at the top of the second round makes sense, but that's a steal for Ketchner.
I don't know, Pat, what to say, because now I'm thinking, wow, what a great value by Nancy Keckner to get Lauren Anderson in the second round, but she reached for Delaney. If she just flipped these two at the snake, I would have been totally fine with the draft. But so now it cancels out. I think she's got 2 home run picks here for her first 2 in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, somebody's got to throw the line outs. You got to win your scrums. That's what Lauren Anderson's there to do. But you also got to have somebody you can trust at the back, and that's what Kate Delaney's going to do. So win-win here for Nancy Keckner and the Stripes. The second the second pick and the 6th overall pick in the draft went to the Hawks. Tom Willoughby from Southern Nazarene back on the board, and he takes Tamsin Boyce, the Wheeling fullback, the speedster from Belfast, somebody who scored against him in the national championship game last year. Tamsin, a fantastic athlete, big pickup there. Another playmaker off the board, Zach.
Yeah, I think Tamsin Boyce gets a little lost when talking about, Wheeling. There's so many great players on that team, but she is, unbelievably fast and just a great finisher on the outside. So I've watched her play a few times and just come away always impressed with her speed and her rugby IQ and tenacity. So I think that's a great pick here in the second round. Inject that pace into your lineup and just have, anybody, if you can get somebody who can touch the ball and be a threat to score from anywhere, that's always somebody good to have in your pocket.
Yeah, for me, Tamsin Boyce coming into the mix, she's fast, she's quick, and here's the kicker. Riley Erickson is going to be playing at center, ? So you've got to wonder if maybe the idea is for her to just be able to get those beautiful pop passes to somebody who can finish the job as Tasman does. But the speedster, being able to build that back line, you can kind of see these coaches and how they're trying to form their teams just based off of the first and second pick. And I think that he's really placing Willoughby. I think he's really placing an emphasis on that.
Yeah, I don't know the workload and how they split it up down there in Bethany, Oklahoma, but I'm guessing maybe Coach Eric Gilliland goes with the forwards and Tom Willoughby goes with the backs, just based on these first 2 picks, but I don't know. All right, the Bison are back on the board, and Lauren Schisler's second pick is Anna Ramatsky, the Michigan flanker. I think this is a huge pick. We got to see the behind the scenes with her as our good friend McKenna Kuzmak followed her as she got ready to go play Notre Dame, and we saw her make her hair. We saw her spill her pasta on her living room floor, and now she is a second-round pick in this women's all-star draft. What a pickup there, Darian.
Yeah, Ramatsky's just like, okay, how dare you bring up my penne that was all over the ground. But nonetheless, I think that she's one of those unspoken leaders that's on Michigan's side, really steps up and really genuinely loves the sport. She's passionate about it too, which makes sense why she's at the flank. We're a little bit off kilter and a little bit off our rocker. I think that she is very smart when it comes to how she plays and putting herself in the right picture. So this is going to be a really fun pick.
All right, well, the second pick for the Stars here is Natalie Lamar, our third fullback off the board. Haven't had a fly half yet, but our third fullback, St. Bonaventure, a Division I Player of the Year finalist. Natalie Lamar is a multi-time All-American there at St. Bonaventure. She's fantastic. She's going to pair up really nicely with Alexis Dallas. They're balancing out a little bit, but they're planning to play Alexis in the back line. So they've got a very strong, powerful, dynamic back line already in the makings there with the Stars with their second pick, Natalie Lamar.
Yeah, good luck to all of your forward-heavy teams trying to track down both of those players in the open field. That's all I got to say about that. I think Lamar, underrated in their season at St. Bonaventure, is going to be great with ball in hand in the open field, going to create some dangerous opportunities there for Team Stars.
Yeah, and honestly, I think she just has to wait for the offload from Alexis Dallas after she rumbles it through the middle. That's going to be really fun, I think, to just see how these back row players, Erickson, Dallas, and even more athletes that are going to go into positions that they're not necessarily playing with at home, but maybe they have the potential to play at whenever they move up internationally. Size does matter when it comes to international play. So you've got to wonder if that's the idea. But I also think it's going to be really fun to see how Dallas and Lamar link up, or if you just see Dallas get the opportunity to play a lot in the middle and just wait for somebody who's constantly on the prowl, which is Lamar.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're moving on to the third round, so we're going to take it round by round at this point. And let's pull up all of our third round picks. First up, it was the Stars taking the first fly half off the board. Lily McGettigan from Brown. Wow, what a great pick. I got to think that might be the seal of the draft already. And then the Bison take Hannah Mitchell, the Walsh scrum half, our first scrum half off the board. So here in the third round, we finally get the people that touch the ball the most. We're getting them picked. The Hawks take Molly McAlavey. Maybe somebody who can tackle Alexis Dallas from Northeastern. I'm not sure. They're going to keep her at number 8, it looks like. And then the Stripes taking Nisea Barkley, another Wheeling player, the second row off the board. So our first fly half, our first scrum half, our first number 8, and our first lock, all taken here in the third round. Any initial thoughts, Zach?
Yeah, this round was a crazy one for me. I think a lot of these players could be X factors on their respective teams because they're not really, we don't know a lot about a few of them here. So Molly McAlevey, obviously, I think is a fantastic player. Hurt a little bit this year, not able to really show off her full complement of skills. But you saw in that national championship game for D1AA, that win for Northeastern, how she just created space for her teammates. She may not have gotten on the stat sheet with a score, but she was everywhere, all over the pitch, offloading, setting her teammates up just because of the gravity she commands as a runner, and she was involved on defense as well. She's a great addition to any team here. But for me, like you said, Lily McGettigan, that could be the steal of the draft here. I mean, didn't get too many minutes at Brown this year on their big-time roster, their first starting 15, but has the high school resume, has scored a lot in some early sevens tournaments in November for Brown, so could really be a game breaker at the fly half position. We'll really have to see how that pick plans out.
I mean, it would just be really interesting to figure out what the plan was from these coaches. I think that all of them really locked in some serious athletes in the first 2 rounds. But then from there, you start to see maybe it's like Zach's little voice in the back of their head say, you guys should start picking some playmakers now. So I think that they really started to dive into that because, like you said, Pat, they get the most touches on the ball. And McAlevey, to me, she also is one of those players that gets the most touches on the ball. Might not necessarily be your finisher, the one who gets the 5 on the board, but she does the dirty work and she gets it through. So to me, she's like, out of all of these, I have to agree with Zach a little bit. I think that McGettigan is a really big steal, but McAlevey for the Hawks, she's going to be absolutely lethal and really fun to watch.
I have to say, Pat, too, we haven't talked much about Berkeley at Wheeling either, but an 11-sport athlete in high school, maybe this could be her kind of coming out party here at this All-Star tournament. Maybe the future of the great talent there at Wheeling.
Did you say 11?
11.
Jill, are there even 11 sports that exist?
Yeah,
there were a few that I was like, I don't know if this is a sport, but I know that there were 11 of them.
Like underwater basket weaving, is that a sport? Like
he was the best at it. Lettered in underwater basket weaving.
All-state highlight.
Yeah,
so she was fantastic. Wow. Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Maybe she's playing fly half. Who knows? All right, well, let's pull up the round 4 here. Stripes still on the board. We just saw them take, as we said, Berkeley playing lock at Wheeling. And then they go back-to-back lock with Macon Tremblay, the All-American out of Notre Dame, the first Fighting Irish off the board, followed up by Tara Bagansky, East Stroudsburg Center. She was a fantastic player. She goes to the Hawks. Going to the Bison, Jessica Chaffee. There's a homer pick by Lauren Schisler, and taking a Nittany Lion there in Penn State fullback, Jessica Chaffee. She's fantastic. And then finally, Caitlin Boggs, the D2 absolute juggernaut. She won a 7s national championship with Coast Guard in the spring. Broke her leg, comes back, 15th national championship with Coast Guard last month. So that's your round 4 there. Still some big names taken off the board, Darian.
Kate Boggs. I am such a fan of Kate. Box. She followed me on Instagram. So shout out to you, Kate. But I think one of the most special things about her is how instinctual she is. There are players that work very, very hard to be able to find the right picture and to put themselves in the right picture at the right time. What she does is she does it so well, and she does it so consistently, and it just happens for her. I mean, just the raw athleticism that I think that she brings, the hype that she brings back at 8-man, the work rate. I mean, to me, she's like the whole enchilada. I would wear a shirt that would say like Boggs fan for life, because I just think that she's amazing. There are a lot of really good names in there, but I've got to shout out Kate Boggs because I was so impressed with her at the D2 championship.
I was going to say very similar things about Boggs. I think criminally low for her to be drafted here in round 4. So I'm totally with Darian on that. But I love the back-to-back locks there with Tremblay as well from Notre Dame, who had a great season as the forwards captain there. She really packs a punch. And I'm happy to see Tara Boganski going as well in this top 5 rounds here. So the D3 program at East Stroudsburg University, maybe a little undersized, but she has the heart. She's got the speed as well and the athleticism for sure. So I'm excited to see what she can do with some really, really top-level talent around her.
All right, let's roll out round 5, guys. The last and final round of our draft. All right, starting here with the Stars as they go back-to-back. Courtney Bichotte-Dunner, she had a huge breakout 7 season, the Northeastern fullback. She's got a lot of speed on her. Big pick by the Stars, followed up by the Bison, taking Emanuela Seni from SUNY Oswego. Another small college team there, and the hooker, she's a fantastic player. Followed up by the Stripes, taking Adelaide Earhart, the Ohio State flanker. She was on the All-American tour last summer. Fantastic player for the Buckeyes. And the final pick, Ms. Not Irrelevant, Caitlin Maroney from Brown, the hooker. Our second Brown Bear taken off the board. Happen to know her father quite well. She is the daughter of a coach. Her father, Pat's, been coaching forever up there in New Jersey. And she is the final pick by the Hawks in round 5. Guys, round 5, take it away, Zach. What do you think?
Well, my first reaction here is getting Kate Boggs and Courtney Bichotte-Dunner back-to-back in the Snake is huge. I mean, that's like a game-changing selection stack there. So kudos. I think it was Carly Baker who made those 2 picks there. So that's a really good. Bichotte-Dunner has that game-changing speed. I think she's been unlucky with injury bug as well for Northeastern this year, but you saw it like the first 5 minutes of that Notre Dame game. She was gone, and nobody could catch her. So unfortunately got her right after that. But I think she's a great pick here, and then it's good to see some other names from some other schools as well that you might not think be in the top 5 rounds here getting picked also.
All right, well, let's take a look at it, all right? Those are our top 20, but we got the top 100 players in women's college rugby taking part in this Women's All-Star competition, the first ever 15s competition between the Hawks, the Bison, the Stripes, and the Stars. And we will start with the Bison as we unveil their entire roster. Here, head coach Lauren Schisler, who she's going to be playing with. We just talked about some of the draft picks, but now this is the full list of players. You can see where some of the other holes are going to get filled. We finally got some second rows in here. Nora Damala from Penn State. No surprise there that Lauren Schisler's going to stay home. Pick a couple of Nittany Lions. Hallie Hill from University of Minnesota. She's the first Golden Gopher we've seen so far. Colby College gets Layla Gary, another center on the board. Guys, what do you make of this roster? Do you recognize anybody? And how do you like the way that she filled some of her holes here, Lauren Schisler, with the Bison?
Yeah, Pat, I think it's an interesting strategy, right? So I like that she's got some of her key positions squared away early. I think you have Ramatsky, who's a great leader and a playmaker, a loose forward. She's got a fullback she can trust with Siafi, a scrum half in Hannah Mitchell from Walsh, who's a D1 caliber player here. But for me, she's taking a big risk here building through the forwards, as I've talked about incessantly, it feels like, tonight. But she built herself a juggernaut of a front row here with Palu Sao, and then she added Emanuela Seni from SUNY Oswego to that. And then she also has a name I recognize, Julia Nilsson from East Stroudsburg as well, who we saw play just a really intense, passionate, game record. So that's a risk that might pay off for Schisler here, building that really intense forward pack. But it could be a good strategy come game time.
Only one fly half listed on the roster, and that's Lucinda Brady, the Penn State Nittany Lions. So if you're only going to have one person at such a pivotal position, it probably should be somebody you should trust. Darian, I got to guess she's got some emergency fly hats built in here somewhere.
You've got to hope that she does. I mean, looking at the roster right now, there are a lot of scrum halves, there are a lot of centers. You've got the possibility of people being moved around in different positions and just trying things. But I have to agree with you, Pat. To have a first year being your only established fly half, which means that she's probably going to get the most reps, you've got to wonder what Lucinda Brady is going to be able to pull out and the confidence that she plays with. Mind you, she does come from Penn State, so Schisler might know something that we all don't know. But it's a strong stance to take to have a very forward-dominated game when you don't necessarily have your distributors out there. Now, she does have some extensive scrum halves in there to mix it in. I think maybe she's trying to get it to those forwards a lot, but to come in with just one fly half, and right now we're not looking at a lot of ones that might step up to the plate. We'll have to see what Schisler's cooking up here.
All right, well, let's take a look now at the full Stripes roster. This is the full squad put together by Nancy Keckner, the Virginia head coach, and lots of talent on here. It's interesting to see, some of the regional knowledge, as there's at least 3 or 4 different players from James Madison on this team. Obviously, somebody that Nancy's going to be super familiar with and having played against. You got some University of Michigan people on here. Virginia had a huge road trip, went up to Ann Arbor, so she's going to be familiar with some of those players as well. Anything else stick out to you here as you look across the board at the Stripes roster, Darian?
I've got to say that just looking at it, if you just glance at positions, it does look like she has a little bit more of a well-rounded side whenever it came to just our comparison to Schisler. It seems like she's got pretty much a wide range of not just, the backs arsenal, but also the forwards. She's got one true scrum half right now, and again, it is from home. This might be something that we don't know, but with Judy, she's the junior from University of Virginia. So again, a lot of these coaches have a lot of knowledge that we don't, but again, one scrum half, where are we going? I just have to wonder what the game plan is going to be based off of who they picked. She's got a lot to work with, though.
All right, let's move on here. You know who else has some good ones? That's the Hawks and Tom Willoughby, and he really does have a lot of talented players on this full roster as we take a look. Kala Dexheimer, she's an All-American from Eau Claire, Division II standout that jumps out to me. Also, a number of wheeling players here. Liz Sinatra, Stitch Savelio, Emma Ty. These are all players that he is very familiar with because he's had to go against them. Allie Davis is another one. And then people like Ireland Jeffrey, who's his fly half. So a lot of wheeling, a lot of Southern Nazarene as you look up and down this Hawks roster. That bodes well for anybody, doesn't it, Darian?
Yeah, you would think that if you're a Hawk going into the tournament, you're rolling with some greatness here. I mean, just to be able to have an extensive depth of a bench even between SNU and Wheeling, really, I think might be what tips the tables. Again, we're talking about building continuity, though, so you got to wonder if Willoughby is going to be able to bring together two sides that didn't get to play in a national championship but should have, and they do have that rivalry, but being able to bring that connectivity is really going to be foundational for them. I think he's got the people to do it. It's just going to be a matter of what the team decides to present with. He's got a lot of seniority, a lot of sophomores and juniors that might be a little bit malleable, and if they're coachable enough, I think that they're going to really be able to listen and learn from each other.
Got a great scrum half room here, does Willoughby, because on top of Sophia Bailey here, he also has Marissa Kogan from Syracuse, who is a U23 All-Star as well. So, interesting to see who starts there, but got that position pretty much locked up. I love to see what they can bring to the table.
I think this is an opportunity for Sophia and to put on a show because, at Vassar, we talked about it. They're kind of have a one-dimensional. Now, they're very good at it, but it's a pretty simple offense, and it centers around her. Are they going to ask her to play a little bit more of an expansive game, a little more modern game in this all-star setup, or are they going to let her have her running ability and not make her play scrum half, just let her loose in some other position? So I would be excited to see either, frankly.
I say let her cook. That's what I want to say.
Let her cook.
Let Sophia cook. Just give her the ball. Let her go.
What do you want to do today, Sophia? Then that's what we will support. All right, let's take a look here at the full lineup for the Stars. This is another fantastic group with players from all over the place. Molly Cancian, the Baldwin Wallace pickup. You got to love that to go along with Alexis Dallas. Ava Hughes out of Colorado State. She was fantastic. Chloe Marconi, we know very well her from Endicott and their many title runs. This is a great roster here. Zach, any initial thoughts for this Stars team?
I love it top to bottom. I mean, I think you also have Carly-Ann Vigmador from Norwich, another great player from that school getting picked here on a team. You mentioned a couple of her Endicott players. Does Baker have on here? Hazel Mitrick, a great player on this team from Coast Guard, is one to watch as well. So I think pretty well-constructed roster all around, and probably my early favorite here going forward.
Oh, are you picking already, Zach?
I don't want to give anything away if we're getting to that.
Well, I mean, I think that you're right. I think that they did do a good job of rounding out this roster here. Baker always does a good job of that. The one thing that makes me, it's just something fun to look at, is that we've got 3 hookers that Baker decided to go for, and that's Peyton Olivias, Hannah Pasquarello, and Taylor Powell. So you've got to wonder what the 3 hookers are for. Is she trying to play a forward-dominated game? I mean, typically I feel like with Baker and Endicott, they really love the backs. But I wonder if she's switching it up by really, flooding those channels and bringing in that connective tissue that is the hooker into it. I wonder if she's going to utilize that a little bit.
I like that some of the team players on the bottom of the roster. You talk about Chloe Tarango, Joelle Taylor. Those are 2 really good championship players from Southern Nazarene and Wheeling, and great championship pedigree. And I also love to see some of the just lower division players. You'd expect that from a Division III coach, and she made good with some great picks here. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We've never done this before, so let's go dive straight into our picks. Zach's already tilted his hand a little bit, so we'll lead with you, Mr. Lanning. Who do you like to win this thing? It is a round robin. Everybody's going to play each other, and it will be decided on points like a true table.
I'm sorry I couldn't wait. I was just so excited to declare my allegiance to the Stars here. I think Carly Baker assembled a really wonderful roster top to bottom. Lily McGettigan, the key that unlocks all that, the skeleton key there at the fly half position. Excited to see what she can bring to the table, but just great athletes, great character individuals all around. Watched a lot of these women play throughout the season and just walked away impressed by all of them. So not all huge names, but players from top to bottom that are really going to make them a tough out in this competition.
Only because I'm going to wear a T-shirt, most likely, that says Box for Life. I'm going to go with Stars. So
for
Stars.
The merch. You got to do it for the merch. We got to sell that stuff.
That doesn't even exist. It's just an idea in my head. But I just think overall, and talking about the teams, and I mean, again, I'm turning over a new leaf, so I'm going to ride with Zach on this one.
Look, I'm going to take the Hawks, okay? I think that I like Kate Boggs. She has championship pedigree. She's a fantastic player. But Sophia Bailey has championship pedigree. Kala Dexheimer has championship pedigree. Riley Erickson has championship pedigree. All sorts of people do. Wheeling and Southern Nazarene have won the last 2 D1 championships. This team has more of those players than anybody. I also just love the grit of Molly McAlavey and Sophia Bailey. And watching those 2 ladies play over the last couple of years, it's hard for me to identify anybody else as a more obvious winner than those 2. Molly, she is just like Superwoman. She is the Wonder Woman of college rugby. I said it last week of Phil Tracy of Bowling Green. If I was casting anyone from men's rugby for Superman, it was him. Anyone for Wonder Woman, it's Molly McAlavey. I just think between her and Sophia Bailey and all that Wheeling and Southern Nazarene depth, I like the Hawks to win it all. All right, well, that is your draft. Those are your rosters for the first ever Women's 15s All-Star Championship taking place this Saturday, this Sunday, Silverbacks Park in Atlanta, all on NCR TV, all on YouTube. We got plenty more to talk about for this weekend. We got 7s to talk about. And then, of course, we're going to announce this weekend, NCR is the Women's Players of the Year. Finally, we're going to make our picks when we come back. 7s, Players of the Year. Stick with us. College Rugby Show. Women's 7s All-Stars this weekend. In addition to the 15s All-Stars, we have 18 teams split across 3 pools. All right, 6 in each pool, the top 2 of which are going to advance to the quarterfinals, as well as the top 2 third-place teams from those pools. And then everybody else is going to play in their consolation brackets. So tons of rugby going on this weekend. Lots of fantastic players, including some who opted to play 7s instead of 15s, who are fantastic 15s players. One of those players is Tulesi Uatafe. So whether you play in 7s or 15s, she might be the best player in the country. She chose to play 7s, as well as some others. Zach, who are some of those players to look out for this weekend in your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I may sound like a one-trick pony here, but for me, the story has to do with Northeastern as well. We talked about some of their great players on the 15 side, but they have a great sevens contingent as well with Mira Mahmood, Alex Peterson, and Jolene Russo. You also have to talk about this. The coaches have split up here. So Keith Kadadak's taking a team, and his longtime assistant, Margaret Rice, is taking a team as well. And there's a lot of competition. They were talking a lot of smack at the National Championship weekend about who's going to come out on top there. So really interesting storyline to watch.
Darian, and who are some of the people headlining your marquee?
I'm really excited to see Iowa show out. You've got Morgan Link, and you've also got Macy Graves, who are two of my favorite players to watch for Northern Iowa. Macy Graves, the first year, I mean, we talk about somebody who plays fullback and knows how to play it well. She does everything well in that fullback position because of her ability to find space, because of her ability to attack it so hard. I think that if she can link up with Morgan Link, there's going to be a lot of space to open up. Another big one going into it, too, is Jillian McCrae from University of Iowa. Very fun player to watch throughout the year. And I think that she's going to bring everything and some. And I'm excited to see Mia Blocker. We didn't really get to talk about her much whenever we were down in Houston with Notre Dame falling out. But, I mean, Mia Blocker is just one of those players that is just so fun to watch. It makes sense, though, why she's playing sevens rather than 15s. I feel like that's her bread and butter because of the speed that she brings. I'm really excited to see how she plays.
Her and Isabel Henderson, both Notre Dame All-Americans, opting for sevens over 15s. I think they both have LA 2028 on the mind. They both see themselves potentially as fitting better into that sevens national team setup in the long run, and they're going to make the Big Ten maybe the team to beat. You mentioned in the Midwest, Morgan Link, Macy Graves, the future of Northern Iowa rugby and what's been the present for 4 or 5 years, and now going out Morgan Link. I can't wait to see Macy Graves play sevens for the first time, and this is our opportunity in this tournament. Another player that's sticking out to me is Piper Lee. I would have picked her in 15s if she was available, but she said she wanted to play sevens, and I haven't really gotten to see her play much sevens, and I think she's going to be absolutely lethal on the pitch out there. So that's fantastic. All right, guys. 18 teams in this one. It's conference-based. So you've got the Great Waters, the Great Lakes, the North Atlantic, the South Atlantic. 18 teams. Who do you like to win it all? Let's start with you, Darian.
I'm going to go Midwest. I talked about Iowa for a reason, and I think that they're building something really special there. Alone, if you can get Graves and Link and McCrae on there playing together, I think that they're going to be absolutely unstoppable. They do have a bench to burn, and I think with Flanagan being one of the coaches to lead it, I think that she's going to bring some really cool dynamics and really cool connectivity to it, so I'm going to go Midwest.
Zach?
I went chalk with my 15s pick, but I'm going to take a swing here. I'm going to look out for the Tri-States team, okay? I like them under Austin Ryan there. Greg Matthews as well from Siena. Regina Ferraro from Stony Brook. They have a couple of great players from Siena in that squad. Tallulah Powers and McHugh as well. So Olivia McHugh, first year, listed at 4'5", but she had 7 tries in the 15s game this season, which is no easy feat for anybody, no matter how tall or short you are. So I think they're going to be game breakers in this one. A couple other great players as well from other teams in the Tri-State. Tatiana Stanton from Fairfield, Sydney Weiss from Marist. So they're going to be a tough out.
If you're going to leave them on the board, I'm going to take the Lone Star Armadillos, defending champs, Talesi. You've heard of her. Uatafe. She's better than everyone else. That's why I'm picking them. Easy enough?
Yeah, she's not just the tea, she's the tea party, okay? Everybody knows who Uatafe is by now.
And shout out to Leah Lockerman on the winning team last year. Now come back with that same roster, but coaching. So congrats to Leah Lockerman there. She knows how to win. She's going to teach those players how to do it too.
She also knows the lay of the land down there in Atlanta. She's been there a week. She was volunteering during Men's All-Stars. That's a little unfair. She knows the ins and outs, the nooks and crannies, the shortcuts from the hotel. She's got the intellectual knowledge.
I'm sticking Midwest, though, okay? I'm sticking with it.
Tri-State all day.
No matter how much you try and convince me to listen, even if she is that good. But I'm going to stick Midwest.
Let's go Dillos. All right, here we go. Women's Player of the Year. We've got 4 divisions. These awards have never been given out. First time ever. So it's only going to happen once, and there's going to be 4 women who get to take home the crown of Player of the Year in their division. Let's start at the top. Let's start Division 1. Let's start with Talesi Uatafe, who is one of our finalists, along with Natalie Lamar from St. Bonaventure, Riley Erickson from Southern Nazarene, Kara McManus from Penn State, and Lauren Anders from Southern Nazarene. I think we've talked about all these players today already, except for Kara McManus. But who do you like? without any further ado, I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to go ahead and take Talesi off the top. Best player in the country. She should be on the national team in the next World Cup. She should be on the next Sevens Olympic team in 2028. She's a freak. Talesi Uatafe with a bullet.
Yeah, I think it's really hard for anybody to kind of disagree with you about Talesi Uatafe, the raw athleticism that she has, the tenacity, the grit. She came out with one of those quotes that I think I might use here on after. If you hit them hard, they won't hit you again. Just that fever that she has. But SNU, I mean, to Lauren Anderson, I think that she had an incredible season. Same thing with Kara McManus. I think she did really well too back at Penn State. But to sit there and try and act like Talesi isn't the best of the best of the best, I mean, I think would be doing her a disservice.
Yeah, I'll give it an analogy that Pat will like. I think all the other players are like the Josh Allens and Lamar Jacksons of the quarterbacks in the NFL right now to Talesi's Patrick Mahomes. So not this year, but I'll say, yeah, past seasons, they had great years, but they're not getting past number one, Talesi Uatafe there.
Not only does he know his college rugby, he knows his professional football very well.
And he knows Pat. He knows Pat.
He also knows his audience, at least
I'm
on
pandering.
this immediate recording. All right, let's move on to D1 AA. We have Morgan Lake, Northern Iowa, Taylor Reith, the prop out of Virginia, Isabel Henderson, the number 8 out of Notre Dame, Molly McAlevey, the number 8 out of Northeastern, and Lucia Hoffman, the number 8 from the runner-up Colorado Buffaloes. I'll start again. Morgan Link, that's my pick. I thought she was fantastic. I thought she was the second best player in the women's D1 final when they stepped in for Wheeling last second to play that game. I think that she's an Eagle if she so chooses to go down that path and make the sacrifices necessary. Anybody in WR who doesn't know Morgan Link's name should be fired. So Morgan Link is my pick as the best player in women's D1 AA. Let's go with you, Darian.
Morgan Link, I think, too, represented a really cool team culture, which was you and I, and it makes sense for her to be the one to be nominated for Player of the Year. My thing is that I'm so torn right now between our two 8-men that are on this list, between Hoffman and McAlevey. Like, how are you supposed to pick? And I think it's because they play very differently. I loved watching Hoffman and how she was just an emotional leader consistently. And McAlevey, I mean, she's just strong, fast, she's got it all. So those, to me, are really the toss-ups between the two. If I had to pick one, I'm going to go with the number 8, McAlevey. I just think that she had an incredible game. I thought she did really well against Northeastern, and I love her comeback story from coming back from injury.
I have to say, first of all, my first note, heinous oversight to not have Mia Blocker even included in this list of players. Isabel Henderson, no disrespect to her at Notre Dame, but Mia was had a wonderful, wonderful season. So just got to stand up for her a little bit here. I'm going to go the opposite side of the coin here. I love what Molly McAlevey brings to the table as well, Northeastern, but I'm going to stick with Lucia Hoffman. She had a great season. Not a lot of information coming out of the West, so you don't always get to experience or appreciate what the full 15 season looked like for that team in Colorado. But talk about sore shoulders. She put that Colorado team on her back this year. A couple great players in that squad, but she really the emotional, physical leader of that squad. So I think she had a great season.
I'm calling it. I think you're going to see Isabel Henderson back on this list, Lucia Hoffman back on this list next year, but good call there, and great shout-out to Mia Blocker. I mean, she's a phenomenal player. Let's move on down to Women's Division II. Sophia Bailey from Vassar, the Brewers, getting a nominee here. Kate Boggs, we talked about her from Coast Guard. Elizabeth Crawford, Jude Robinson, a second Vassar player, and Olivia George from Wisconsin Eau Claire. Let's start with you now, Darian. Who do you like here in Women's Division II?
This, to me, is like one of the hardest ones to pick because there's not an obvious person in the mix. I mean, you've got Olivia George from Eau Claire. Hard to go up against her. And then I'm sitting here being like, I'm not going to be disrespectful to Kate Boggs and not pick her either because she's been my favorite all season. I don't know. I just think whenever you look at the list of things, and I've talked about her time and time again, for me, it's got to be Boggs. I just loved how hard she worked throughout the season. I love the instinct that she has, and I love that she plays way above her size. And I don't know if that one would be. I feel like it's anybody's game, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed for Boggs.
Zach?
Yeah, I have to I mean, not only is it a difficult decision, this might be one of the most difficult decisions I've ever had to make in my life. I'm looking at this list, and I legitimately stared at this list for like 20 minutes before we did this show, and I could not decide who I wanted to pick. Sophia Bailey has had an excellent career at Vassar. If this is a Lifetime Achievement Award, I think I would obviously give it to her. She'd be the number one. Kate Boggs, unbelievable player, leader there at Coast Guard. Elizabeth Crawford was literally everything, dragged that SUNY Binghamton team to like the national playoffs just at the 10 spot was everything for them. Jude Robinson, an amazing compliment there to Bailey at Vassar. Olivia George, we already talked about what she can do on the pitch. So I don't know if I've even made a firm decision here, but I'm just going to throw my hands up and say anybody will take it. I'd be happy, but I'm going to give some love to Elizabeth Crawford for the show she put on for SUNY Binghamton this year.
Look, I think if we gave this award out last year, it would have been Sophia Bailey's lock, stock, and barrel, and I think with a bullet, and I think she would have deserved it. And I think that's the real crime, right? We talked about, if Mia is a bit of a snub. I think it's a snub that we didn't have this, unfortunately, last year. It would have been Sophia's. And I think that Olivia George will win this award. But I think that this year you have to give it to Kate Boggs. Broken leg, 7s national champion, 15s national. I know we're only talking about 15s this fall. It's not a 2025 calendar year award. But to come back from what you came back from and to lead your team to a national championship, that's some serious adversity. And she was the best player on the field in that final and in the Final Four. So Kate Boggs, this division was the toughest to pick for me this year, but she's my pick. Yeah. Division 3. Let's move it on down. Let's give Zach the front pick here. Tara Bagansky from East Stroudsburg, Piper Lee from Colorado School of Mines, Colleen Mitchell from Endicott, Julia Nielsen from East Stroudsburg, and Mackenzie Williams from Colorado School of Mines. Who did you pick, Zach? Who's your number one pick here in Women's D3?
For me, there was one player head and shoulders above the rest, and that's primetime Piper Lee, okay, who just had an unbelievable her sophomore season here. She's just a great player, freak athlete, wonderful rugby IQ, and adaptable. And she's learning on the fly, even in these like national championship games. You can see her getting better from like whistle to whistle. So it's just she has the ceiling is unlimited for her, and she has already shown out here in year 2 in her rugby career. She was a fantastic player.
Probably I'm going to go with you. Piper Lee, I'm co-signing. She's my number one pick, and I think that without question she's the best player in Division 3. But the second best player is her teammate Mackenzie Williams, who was phenomenal all year and, maybe didn't make as long a breaks, but often was the one winning possession or securing the possession that ended up in a Piper Lee try. But fantastic players across the board. But I agree. Piper Lee she's the tall poppy in this field, and I think that by quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, Piper Lee, and I think one thing that's really amazing about her is, Zach, you mentioned her adaptability. Even when we saw her in that final, they were taking some serious hits, and Piper took one, and she was down for a second, and I was watching on the sideline, and I'm like, Piper, you got to move the ball early. And even when she's beat up, she still looked at me, gave a thumbs up, and then continued to use that skill. And Players of the Year, the people that are on this list, and not just in the D3, but just across the board, they have that innate ability to adapt on the fly while they're in the thick of it. Piper Lee, to me, is just tough as nails. She's tough as the Colorado School of Mines, and I just think that she was just a stellar example of a fullback this year. So to me, it's got to be Piper Lee, but that's not to discredit, the Colorado School of Mines or the other 4 on the list.
I just can't believe Darian put her finger on the scale of a national championship game. With some,
I was pump your brakes. I was also cheering for the other team. We cheer for good rugby.
That's true. I can't confirm Darian coached anybody who would listen to her that weekend. So
you can have it, okay? Even if you don't want it, actually, I'm still going to do it. But just know, I almost got thrown out a couple times, but we tried.
That's why we're keeping you remote broadcasting for the All-Stars. You just need to cool off a little bit in the sin bin, Darian, and we'll bring you back for 7s.
Yeah, I'm still in timeout, guys.
All right, guys. Well, we have talked it to death. Women's All-Stars, the weekend is upon us. Games start Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be a phenomenal weekend, all on NCR TV. All on YouTube, both days. Stadium Field's going to be on NCR TV with, I got to say, shout out to Next Level Rugby. They had some incredible angles this year, and I think they're going to have them this weekend as well. So look out all weekend. Women's All-Stars coming right at you. The next time you see us on the College Rugby Show, we're going to be talking 7s because it is the spring semester. So that is it, guys. Women's All-Stars all weekend. Get your popcorn, get your blankets, tune in, and we will be back with you very soon to talk 7s here on the College Rugby Show. For Zach, for Darian, I'm Pat. Thanks for watching.